this week we were going to do my White Hart Lane story with Jens, weren't we? Are you ready to do it this week, Jens, or do you want to look at that look of fear in his eyes there? We've not done yet. We were going to do. Oh, Jens, you're on mute, mate.
Yeah, he's on mute. Yeah.
On mute.
Okay, hold on. Before we start, we should have a sweepstake as to how many times the word drunk will turn up.
Over 10.
Okay, anyway, carry on.
Let's get underway then, Jens. I'll be interested to know some of these answers. So, why Spurs? How did you become a Spurs fan?
Well, I was born in Denmark. My mother's English, my father's Danish. We moved to the States when I was 1.5 for about 3 odd years, and then we came to England. My mother's from Hastings originally, and her parents died quite young. And there was a couple who kind of looked out for her and took care of her. And he was originally from Potter's Bar and was a massive Spurs fan. When we came over in 1980, he didn't take us to a match because of the hooliganism, and I was 4 and my brother was 7. So I don't think he was going at that time as well. But he took us to the shop and we got FA Cup final flags. Scarves and pins. And I only have the scarf left, which is actually my brother's, but I kind of, I still have that. And then, so ever since then, it's been Tottenham.
Excellent. So moving on to the next question, your first home game. Can you remember the score and the scorers? And what do you remember most about the day?
The thing I remember most about the day was the walk from the car, because it was so long. I think it was 1987 against Forest at home. 1-1, and I think it was Chrissy Waddle who scored.
Nice. What a first goal scorer.
I can remember the reason I really remember that match is because there was a bloke called Brian Statham playing at right back, who I'd never really heard of. I'd seen all the bigger players, and he was just breaking through from the U team. I think he went on to make about 10 appearances that season, and they shipped him off to Brentford, and I don't know where he is now. So. Sorry about that.
Yeah, massive blast from the past. I remember Brian Statham.
I think we sat in was the new West Stand there at that time, or was it still the old one?
87.
That was the old one, wasn't it? Because wasn't it under Sugar that we read?
Yeah, I think it's the old one.
Redeveloped that.
Okay, yeah. So I think we sat in the West Stand because I can remember being quite high up at the side. I don't think we were on the shelf because I think the shelf was where most of the action used to happen in those days. So yeah, I think we were in the West Stand, and it was not the most memorable first game, but
Do you remember seeing the grass for the first time?
I don't. No.
We'll move swiftly on then. Your first away game.
First away game, funnily enough, was in Denmark against Brøndby. Back in '98, I was wasn't doing an awful lot in England, and my dad said, "Well, you need to do something with yourself. I think you should go to Denmark." I applied for university as well the next year, and if I didn't get in, I was going to try my hand at doing my national service in Denmark. And then they posted up that the pre-season games, one of them was against Brøndby because we just bought Alan Nielsen. So I went from Sønderjylland, which is South Jutland, to the other side of Copenhagen on the train with my boss's son, who was, I think, all of 14 or something. And yeah, let's just say in Denmark, you can drink on the terraces. So I bought myself 6 half litres, plonked him in front of myself on the terrace. And that was the first time I saw Paolo Tramezzani, and luckily the last time.
And that's what started you drinking.
Dare we ask how far you led astray this poor 14-year-old lad that was
well, I think we got home at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and his dad had been waiting at the station for about 2 hours. So yeah, I wasn't very popular for a little while, but they kind of.
Does that coincide with you leaving Denmark?
Denmark.
I did stay there for another couple of months.
You had to work
while they sorted the people.
That was highly amusing because the kid was stood next to me, and the referee made a bad decision. I was like, "Ref, you're a wanker," and he said to me in Danish, "What does wanker mean?" And I said, I said in Danish is pigspiller, which basically means dick player. And so every time he saw me after that, he used to say, "Wanker."
You sure that's the reason?
I'm just thinking he was 14, so it would have been right around that age. So maybe you were also responsible for awakening this young gentleman's.
this poor dick spiller.
Dick spiller.
Dick spiller, yeah. Dick spiller. Whoops.
Jens, what was your first Spurs shirt? Can you remember?
I don't remember the exact season it was, but it was we were sponsored by Holston, so I couldn't have the logo on because it was a used shirt. But it was the light blue. I think it might have been 86, 87. We had a light blue. I think it was a third kit, or might have been an away kit.
That's the one I bought the other day. Let me go and get it.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, talk amongst yourselves, fellas.
I'm just looking up Spurs kits. There's a website that actually has them.
Was it this?
No.
I actually got it in the Spurs Stadium. That one, but in light blue, was it?
Yes. Yeah. I've got that one as well. I've got that one. I bought that a couple of years ago. Yeah, but it was in light blue. And
that was
the 87 Cup final colour then. That was light blue, wasn't it? Pretty sure.
No, we played in white in the 87 Cup final, didn't we?
Well, I'm getting confused somewhere along
we
the
had
line.
Coventry were playing in light blue.
We had the issue of missing the
Apologies.
on the shirts. Yeah.
So
did you have a number? Did you have a number on the back or anything? Or was just
No.
Didn't we do it in those days? Did they?
No, it was just box standard.
Your first Spurs hero as a child?
Gary Mabbott.
It would have been between 85 and 87.
Okay.
But you had it. I don't know how well that will come out on my screen, but it would be.
Yeah, that looks about right. The light blue one there. Yeah.
Yeah, that sort of second from
in
this
the
side.
Yeah.
What made you connect to Gary Mabbott then?
I think I explained it last week that about his whole diabetes and the rare times that I saw him interviewed on the television. He was happy and just always seemed to be smiling, and I just couldn't believe that someone with illness. I mean, it still is an illness, but it was like, wow, someone with an illness plays football.
Yeah.
I've never been very intelligent, so I couldn't really put the two together. So he was definitely my hero as a child.
Excellent. Tricky one for you next then. Favourite all-time Spurs player?
Frank Saul.
You made a run for you back there. You're going to have to get 10 now. 10 out of 10.
It's Gary Mabbott.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Your most disliked player apart from Arsenal?
This was one that I've been thinking about, and I really can't think. I thought to myself, it might be Berbatov because of the way he left, but all of the goals that he scored and the amount of joy that he gave me while he was here when he was playing with Keane and Mido, and there was I think that overweighs overweighs the negatives.
Adabon Door was quite unpopular for a while, wasn't he?
Yeah, no, that's true. But again, he scored a lot of important goals for us. I think I'll have to go for the amount of aggro that he caused me, Bobby Mims.
Oh dear. If you could go back in time to watch one famous game in Spurs history, which one would it be?
As in actually be in the stadium?
Yeah.
84 UEFA Cup.
Stood next to Kev.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
We'd be throwing windmills at all those dirty Belgians, and it would be wonderful.
Kev, would you?
No, okay. We're blowing kisses there.
All right. That's a ninja. This is me.
Which was your favourite era in your team?
That's a difficult one because when I first sort of became aware of, I was 4 years old when I was taken to the stadium first. When I first sort of became aware was in '84, and yeah, that was a hell of a team. And was it that season or the season after? God knows how. Well, we should have won the league if they hadn't have had all those postponements, as Kevin said before. But I think I'll have to go with, is it 2003, 2004, when Martin Jol came in, because he made me fall in love with Tottenham again. Just the way that he was in the interviews, the team we actually had some bottle again, which we seem to have been missing for so long. We had some steel in the midfield. So yeah, I'd say that.
Martin Jol's team, yeah.
Yeah.
Your most memorable UK away day? Can you remember it? Or
yeah. Man United. Yeah. Man United, I don't recall which season it was, but it was my first time up at Old Trafford, and we beat him 3-2, which was the first time in I don't know how long. And Bale scored. Jan Vertonghen. It went down as an own goal, but that run down the wing, and I just thought, bloody hell. And then,
he'd only just signed for us, hadn't he? At that point.
Yeah, it was. I think it was one of his first 5 games or something.
Yeah.
Like that.
It was under AVB.
Yes, I think it was.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Oh, yes, it was. Yeah, because I came outside and we were going to catch a bus into the centre of Manchester, and there was this bloke there going. I was like, "Yeah, come on, you Spurs." He's like, "Yeah, but AVB's useless, isn't he?" So we just beaten Man United 3-2 in their own backyard. Yeah, but you ain't got no tactics. And I was just like, all right, mate, see ya. Yeah. We'll get a taxi.
he did have tactics. There were a lot of them, but he certainly had them.
He wasn't very good at getting his ideas across, was he?
No. But who was it? Was it Deuce who scored that day? Deuce and Bale. Yeah, Dempsey.
Oh, yeah.
The Rattler, number 2.
And we were brilliant that day. It was hilarious. The guy I went with, I think you might have met him, Mike, John, the big guy. Yeah. Last 10 minutes, he said, "I can't handle this. I'm going downstairs." Couldn't watch it. But yeah, that was quality.
I was at a wedding that day, Smithy's wedding. I was like, what's the odds on us beating Man United? We always lose up there, kind of thing. And I was like watching on my phone at the table. I had a stream at the time. I was like, there was a little murmur around the because I was sat next to Brian. He's a Man United fan. So
yeah. Well, that was the season we could get away tickets everywhere, and then we got Chelsea, we got Man U. I think I got Arsenal as well that season. Even though
wasn't that the season they were selling quarter season tickets?
It might have been, but because of the loyalty points on my membership, I had an awful lot. I could get nobody seemed to want to travel away, and then the season after it all went. You can't even get loyalty points as a season ticket holder. You can't even get away games as a season ticket holder these days without sort of 400 loyalty points.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. You'd think, like a third round Carabao Cup, you'd get them. Yeah. I applied, I didn't get any.
Yeah,
didn't get it. Evening, Cody. Evening,
Cody. funnily enough, Revs, that's how I got my season ticket under one day Ramos when he was stinking the place out the fucking first few months. Yeah, and obviously someone handed their season ticket back, and I managed to get in. And then literally a week later, Redknapp took over.
And then you couldn't get a lot more money.
Yeah. No, I got my ticket, but whoever handed theirs in dropped.
I got so fortunate with mine. I was so lucky. I don't know how I swung that, but it was, when they did that slight extension soon after the thing, that's when I got mine. They sort of had 2,000 extra tickets, and I applied, and I couldn't believe I got one because I was still like 30-odd thousand on the waiting list. I don't know how I got it, and then it wasn't that lucky because the very first match on that little 5-game season ticket was Man United, which was when they announced lockdown the day before.
Oh dear. Literally so the day, wasn't it? I was pretty much getting ready to go that day. And
I waited 18 months to go. Finally got there for the Watford game.
Blimey. Jens, your most memorable European away day, apart from accosting a 14-year-old and introducing him to the word Dick Slayer or whatever. Wanking is in. Dick Spiller.
There's only been a few, but there was Leon in the rugby league when they went 1-0 up in the first half. And Moussa Dembele scored the equaliser, I think the 80th minute.
Was Lloris playing for them, or was he?
I'm not sure. I can't remember. But I'd spoken with Jason, and he said, "Yeah, we should go." And I said, "Well, how are we going to get tickets? We weren't season ticket holders, and obviously European away games are crazy." And I read on the internet that Leon sell tickets. On the internet with our membership. So I went on, I signed in, obviously I had to use my pidgin secondary school French, and I got 2 tickets in the middle of the Leon end. So yeah, we went over there. We had a great night the night before, loads of Spurs fans around this bar called Bar Danois. It was I could hardly speak the next morning. We were singing so much. It was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, and that's the reason you couldn't speak the next morning.
Oh, we went to bed quite early. We went to bed, I think it was 2:00. Yes, it wasn't
in the morning.
Yeah. Yes, 2:00 in the morning. Yeah. Oh no, 2:00 in the afternoon before the match. What do you think, Rez? And so we basically we got up for breakfast the next morning, and then we went back and we had a snooze, and then we went down to the ground, and we were sort of milling about, looking what's happening, and we walked up, and this guy came over, and he said something in French, and I caught half of it, and I said, "Where?" And so he guided us, and so we got to this bit, and there was a big line of police, and that was the Tottenham away end, and so we got to the bit where they check the tickets, and he was like, "English." We were like, "Yes." He said, "What do you do in this end? You should be there." I said, "Well, move us to that end." No, Kendall. No, Kendall. I said, "Okay, well, we've bought tickets, so we want to go in." And he said, "Okay, you understand. You in the top bit. You not go downstairs, hooligans, you die." Okay, so anyway, yeah, the game kicked off. They scored. We didn't say much. Yeah, we were we were stood there. It was absolutely freezing. I mean, I'm sure you remember, John, with the at Fulham, that wind to come off the Thames. How cold that was. Yeah. This was absolutely. It didn't have a curved end. It was a stand and then another stand. 2 stands. Yeah. And then when Bailey scored, obviously we jumped up and we got hit with all sorts, plastic bottles, paper cups. Yeah. And there was about I reckon there were about 200 Spurs fans in that end who all jumped up when we scored. Nice. Yeah, when we got outside, it was apparently all a bit lively, so we decided to go to a hotel where we got chatting to a bloke who was from Lyon but supported Tottenham, and it was a fantastic day. The only problem was we had to be up at 4:45 to catch a bastard jet flight in the morning back to Gatwick.
Wow. Did you stay up or?
No. We got a few hours late. I mean, come on, man, I'm old.
That game was, as you say, 1-1. Dembele in the 90th minute. Funnily enough, Hugo had signed for us, but wasn't in goal. It was actually Brad Friedel.
Because I remember him doing this. He was giving that to the Leon fans.
Yeah, and Lloris was still wearing. I mean, he didn't play, but he was still wearing the number 25 shirt.
So it's fresh off the.
Do you want to know the lineup?
Yeah, go on. So let's have
Benny.
a blast.
Benny at left back. I remember Benny had a great game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Benny at left back. Jan, Gallas, Walker, Parker,
Scotty P,
Moussa Dembele, Bale on the left, Lennon on the right, Holtby at number 10, and Emmanuel Adebayor up front. And the bench was Lloris, Dempsey, Norton, Michael Dawson, Gylfi Sigurdsson, Jake Livermore, and I can't even remember his first name, Corker. What was his first name?
Stephen,
that's right.
Yeah.
Stephen Corker. Yeah.
I think he's an Irish international, isn't he, Kev? Stephen Corker.
Stevie.
Yeah. Stevie.
Anyone famous in doing? Oh, actually, here's one. This would have been after he played for us. There's a former Spur in that substitutes bench for Lyon.
Clinton NG.
Nope.
Dallas.
No. Think further back than that.
Istanbul.
Hero of a 5-1 against the scum.
Kabul.
No.
Canute.
No. Short, stocky, French. Played for Fulham.
Malbranque,
yeah.
Lead.
Yeah. And also up front for Lyon that day was Alexander Lacazette.
I was thinking the other day, how mad is it? Like when the player's playing for you, like every other week, you're shouting at like his song at him, like Steve. Yeah. We should do that all the time. Then one day he left, and we never got
He's
to
gone
ever again. Yeah. Until it's brought up on podcasts like this. Apart from Steve Malbronkians, which Spurs player got you the most excited when you first heard the news of their signing?
I won't go for player. I'll go for players. I was working up in London on a fitting kitchens on a building site in Covent Garden, and I heard over the radio that we'd signed Klinsmann, Dumitrescu, and Popescu. Might not have been at the same time, but it was in that week that I was working there, and God, I thought we were gonna smash it.
You know what? I mean, put Klinsmann aside, that at least showed ambition.
Yeah,
nice bloody change.
Sugar, wasn't it?
Well, that was Mr. Sugar, yeah. But I think, Aussie Ideales wanted to play 5 up front, 1 in the midfield, and 4 defenders. And I think one of the defenders was either Nethercott or someone like that.
Wasn't it Doc, wasn't it? The Doc.
And to be fair, that midfielder was also designed to drop back into the defence as well from time to time. So
Popescu was the one.
He played 5-0-5.
George Popescu.
Yeah.
And we've got a lot of Romanian fans because of those guys. Yeah, because of those guys, we've got a lot of Romanian fans. A lot of like the guys at our local public checkers. They support Tottenham because of Dimitrescu and Popescu.
Yeah. Well, because they just set the World Cup alight, hadn't they?
Yeah.
Georgie Hadji team. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Jens, if you could have scored one famous goal in Spurs history, which one would it be?
Well,
you're transformed into their body, and you get to experience the feeling and the surrounding emotions around it.
I could go for the obvious one, which is my handle, which is Ricky Villas. But there's kind of 3 I'd like to throw in there. There's obviously Ricky Villas. There's Danny Rose's against the Scum.
Wonderful.
But there's also Robbie Keane against Blackburn. I don't know if you saw it. He dribbled in from the right hand side.
Yeah.
Chipped it over someone and then knocked it in. And I when I was watching it, I think I might have been drunk, Rez. But I thought it was. I thought it was one of the best goals that I'd seen in a long time. And I watched it back the other day, and it is pretty tasty.
It is very good.
It might have been one of the best goals. It's the fact that you were drunk. It's like when you eat something when you're drunk. It's the best meal ever. So that's probably what it is. It might not have been a very good goal. I mean,
No, it was
I'm
a
sure
good
it
goal.
was. It was Robbie Keane,
Yeah,
but
it's very good.
just the
very
fact
good.
that you were drunk might have made it extra special in your mind.
You reckon? I didn't know that.
When Sonny
wondering how
scored
old he
his
is.
when Sonny scored his wonder goal against Burnley last year,
Yeah.
or year before, it would have been the year before.
No, I have to say I was completely and utterly pissed off and gutted because I gave him a ticket to my brother.
Well, funnily enough, because he does it all the
the
time,
Puskás
he
goal.
set off on his little run and scored, and everyone was going mad around me. I was like, Sonny does that all the time, you know. I didn't think that much of it because he'd got the ball. He'd done a couple of similar runs in that game, kind of thing. So I wasn't that actually blown away by it, but everyone else was.
I nearly had a heart attack watching that. It was amazing. It was like he's beaten another man, and just
Burnley as well, who are quite hatchetty, aren't they? For taking
Talking about what Cody said.
Yeah.
If you watch the Tottenham versus Chelsea, Tottenham versus Arsenal game. I can't remember the season. Aurelio Gomez pulled off some
Van Persie.
Amazing saves, from Van Persie. And I mean, that guy could go from the absolutely amazing to the ridiculous in sort of 5 seconds.
I remember that Real Madrid game. You know, they beat us at White Hart Lane, didn't they? And we had to go away still. And I thought it was just 4-1. Maybe we could go there and win 3-0. But then he threw one through his hands right at the end, didn't he? And it was like, we're not going to go over there and win 4-0. Cheers, Aurelio. Again, speaking of songs that you used to sing all the time, the Aurelio Gomez song, we used to sing that all the time. Can't let you sleep with my wife. Aurelio Gomez. You can't sing it.
Speaking of great saves,
your little
Lloris
toddlers in the
against
room.
Man City in the Champions League. That was a great save.
We should maybe do a thing then on the back of Cody's comment. Watch the best save in Tottenham history alongside, apart from Tony Parks. Kev, you've seen a few. What's the best save? Any Pat Jennings ones?
I'm hard pushed, but Jennings saved those 2 penalties at Anfield one morning. But they're set pieces. So set pieces are different. I was going to bring up what Jens said. Best goals. I mean, Gascoigne's goal was sublime, but it was a set piece. So it's not. It's individual skill, but it doesn't get you the slow motion build up to the.
There's no breathlessness behind it before it.
Yeah. But keepers, there's been so many. You put me on the spot. I'm afraid.
Yeah. Lloris's highlights package.
We've been really fortunate, actually. We've been really fortunate. We've been really unfortunate as well. I mean, we've had the likes of Ian Walker and Aurelio Gomez, but at the same time, we've had the likes of Robinson, Jennings, Lloris, Torsved. You know, there have been some amazing goalies that we've played for us.
We are. Next question. What was the loudest atmosphere you ever heard at the Old Lane, Jens?
I think it was probably those 2 games against Arsenal and Chelsea, like the one I mentioned earlier. I was block 34 right at the back, which was absolutely brilliant because you could smoke and, and if anyone came up, told you to sit down, you just say stand up if you hate Arsenal. But that was mental from start to finish. We were bouncing.
It was typical being a Tottenham fan that year, wasn't it? Because if you remember, that week started off with us losing to Portsmouth in the FA Cup semi-final. Yeah. So we were at low, weren't we? And then we had Arsenal and Chelsea to play at home in the space of 3 or 4
I'll never
days.
forget
that was to get Champions. That was the thing, wasn't it? Get Champions League.
And we had to beat Man City up at the Etihad as well, didn't we? The Peter Crouch goal. So
that semi-final, I watched it up in the gods with James and Kenny, and they all left about 5 minutes before the end of the game, and I stayed till the end. And I came out of Wembley, and I walked the wrong way, so I ended up going to Wembley Central, and I got on a train was surrounded by Portsmouth fans, as if it couldn't get any worse.
Was Mr. Portsmouth there with his big hat on and his bell?
No, they were all scarfers, and
that guy was a literal bell end.
Oh, Matt, the most annoying thing
That's a
about
Man
that
City,
game
mate.
was the player that
well.
slipped for them to score the goal. Dawson, wouldn't it have been
Mm.
so
Yeah.
Mr. Reliable for so long, and then for him to have slipped momentarily for them to get the goal.
Yeah.
Awful.
But yeah, the Arsenal and the Chelsea game that week was proper lively. Funnily enough, I would have thought that the AC Milan game in the was it the second round of the Champions League? I thought that was going to be really, really noisy, and I got a ticket in the shelf upper. Really wasn't. I mean, it's quite up there anyway, but I could hardly hear the Park Lane and,
tell you, we used
and
to
the
get
shelf side.
the Polish fans are really good when they used to play in the Open
Oh,
League.
yeah,
They were really like Wisław Krakow. I remember that playing them once.
I didn't go to that game.
Yeah, they were really loud.
I had a ticket, but I overindulged the night before. Funnily enough, Rez, I was drunk, so I didn't end up going. But I heard that it was kicking off everywhere in the ground.
Yeah. Me and Gaz were walking down afterwards, and there was a Poland fan, Wisław Krakow, walking down like that, waving his flag, just running down through the crowds. And then we literally 5 yards further down the road, and we saw him sparked out on the floor. Someone had just completely knocked him out. He was fucking, it was a walk. He thought it was funny walking down the road with his scarf, and then someone actually he was knocked out.
But that's the thing. There's so many Polish people around Seven Sisters. It's like Little Warsaw at the moment.
Completely knocked out 5 yards further down the road. Dear. So as well as the police and the ambulance outside your window there, Rez, Brian Daigle's actually in the UK at the moment, so you got to watch
awesome.
in the background there. He's going to the Chelsea game. He's sitting next to Danny the Bun, isn't he? I think
we should meet up for a drink then before.
I think all the YouTube guys are meeting up and whatnot. I've not been invited. It's terrible.
Can you invite Johnny, please? Because then if you invite Johnny, I can then sort of like find out where he is and turn up just uninvited as well.
I'll wear this shirt, so then you can see where you are.
I'll be there in spirit.
My PI shirt.
I'll be there in spirit, preferably gin.
Yeah.
Well, we'll do like FaceTime or something with you guys as well, so you can sort of join in.
I know where Stell sits in the stadium, so I'll go and photobomb him again. I think he sat next to the guys from We Are Tottenham TV, so I know where they are roughly as well. But in line with you actually, Jens, but maybe a bit more central.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Well, South Stand. Yeah.
Yep. South. Yep. South. Yeah. With Grand Pop. Is it Grand Pops they call him? Grand Pops.
I don't know. But what's his name? Jamie from We Are Tottenham TV's got my ticket. So
he took it in there. Nice.
Yes, he did. Yeah. So.
Brilliant.
I gave him a bit more of a discount.
I don't know if Brian will make it past security, but.
So just on Mabba and Gaza,
go on.
There's a really when you mentioned Gary Mabbutt last week, actually, Jens, it came into my mind. I didn't get the chance to sort of tell you guys. I don't know. You must have heard it. So Mabbutt was.
I bet you wish you did.
Sorry, yeah, that's the one. Yeah, wish. Yeah. Brilliant story. Shall I repeat for the benefit of everyone?
Is that the Gaza story?
Yeah. Have you all heard it?
I think you told us it a couple of weeks ago.
Have I told you it?
Yeah.
So basically, he says he's a diabetic, and he was on the coach after an away game, and he had his needle out to inject himself with insulin. And Gaza got on the coach, and obviously, Gaza doesn't know anything really. And he asked Mabbutt what he was doing, and Mabbutt was trying to explain that he's a diabetic. And apparently, Gaza didn't quite get it. He seemed to think that diabetes was a boxer, apparently. But he said, "This is what Mabbutt related." He said, "I said I have to inject myself 4 times a day." He said, "What, every day for the rest of your life, or just while you're in football?" I said, "For the rest of my life." He said, "For the rest of your life, I bet you can't wait to die." It's typical Gaza,
isn't it? Just
brilliant.
Jens, have you ever gone into a game hoping we'd lose to expedite a manager sacking?
No.
No matter how
I think back in the George Graham days, I didn't really go, so I was too young, or didn't have enough money, and maybe might have considered it then because Yeah, he won us a trophy, but
It's about the only thing decent thing Levy's ever done, isn't it? Sacking George Graham.
He's a gooner to the core, as far as I'm concerned.
There was tales that he had a swimming pool in his house now with the Arsenal crest on the bottom when he was our manager, and I never liked that.
Yeah, well,
we're going to do that.
No, but I haven't. There are times when I think the managers, it's time to go. But I've never had the amount of hatred that it seems some people have, like the hatred for AVB when he left, and Tim Sherwood as well. I was like, he's our manager. Yeah, okay, he's not great and he mouths off a lot, but the hatred, he's our manager. He doesn't manage Chelsea, doesn't manage the Gooners, doesn't manage West Ham. He's our manager. If you don't like him, okay.
Yeah. But he's getting a lot of stick at the moment, Sherwood, because he said on one of these score programmes the other day that if he was a Tottenham fan, he'd rather watch Leeds at the moment, which I probably agree with him, to be honest.
What is he? Is he on Talk Sport?
Style of football now. He's on one of these BT programs or one of these foreign channels.
They drag him out from time to time because he's got a mouth on him. So
and a gillet,
yeah. I mean,
style of football wise, Leeds probably play the Tottenham way stylistically, don't they?
Yeah,
and that's all he said.
Tim Sherwood played the Tottenham way, didn't he? So.
Yeah, run around a bit. Yeah, get on there and run around a bit.
Well,
that was how he read that.
It used to go in my day. We didn't have defensive midfielders and attacking midfielders.
No,
did a bit of both.
We played Gylfi in the middle.
Did a bit.
I remember he played
Gylfi. Talking bollocks.
Chadley. He played Chadley in the middle against West Ham in the League Cup.
He's still talking bollocks because even back as far back as the 70s, even back as far back as the 60s. You would still have defensive-minded midfielders. It's nothing new.
Not in my day.
Nothing new.
A bit of both. Yeah, you were just a midfielder.
You see, this is the mistake that people make. It's not, and we'll probably get to this, but it's not about the label that you stick on the midfielder. It's about the role that they carry out. And a central midfielder, has always had defensive duties as well.
Run around.
I think we should order. Go, get it in the go.
Get it in a mixer.
The onion bag.
Jens, who would have won between Poch 2017, Birkinshaw 1981, and Pleat 1987? I should clarify it's their teams and not the actual managers because they might be a bit old by now. Poch should probably win that one, wouldn't he? Against Birkinshaw was probably early 80s, 81, I think he was. Funnily enough, looking at the year.
Well, as in a fight or something?
No, a game.
Whose team would win?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going for Pleat 87 because of Clive Allen.
Nice.
Was Hoddle still in the 87 team?
He was indeed.
Yes,
yeah.
he was,
And it would have been 87. Yeah. Hoddle now, if he had the same skill set,
and he wasn't even born when Birkinshaw was around.
Yeah. No, but even now, the same. If he was that age that he was then, now he would be one of the best midfielders in the world, even today.
He was then, mate.
He'd be the best midfielder in the world.
Yeah,
I have no doubt.
The game he's what he had back then is still perfectly transferable to today's game, and he would dominate midfields. He would
absolutely, yeah.
He would.
Just on in management though, he just couldn't relate to people.
It's his man management, wasn't it? Because he could understand how other players couldn't do what he could do so easily.
Yeah.
And my name's not Jens, it's Michael Chiklis. Thank you very much.
Dickless, Chickless. And a subject close to your heart, Jens, your favourite match day Spurs pub. If you were going in the old days when you were living in West London, you would get up early to a Spurs game. Which pub would you go to?
It's definitely changed because, as you know, I was a massive fan of the Bell and Hare until it changed management. But I also loved the Beehive. I loved the Two Brewers. The Elmhurst, when the manager from the Bell and Hare moved there, was great for the first two games until we realised that all the away fans were turning up because it was listed as an away fans pub on the internet.
Oh,
Yeah.
not good.
Yeah. So, yeah. I would probably say overall the two brewers, because the atmosphere that could get going in there, small pub, big, relatively large backyard, everyone was massively charged, and there was a lot of singing, and it was quality. Remember West Ham turned up once. That was highly amusing. Police were there about 20 seconds later, but yeah, that was the thing about the Brewers. You never knew what was going to happen. Whereas the rest of the pubs are sort of, on the main drag, and the police were around there, but the Brewers was a little bit off. But
Did I ever tell you about the time I got penned in with the West Ham fans? We were coming out of Seven Sisters Tube, going up the stairs. The police had cordoned it off because obviously the West Ham fans had just got there, and we came around the corner, and they stopped us all. And then literally all the West Ham fans were coming up behind us, literally where the police were. And me and my little brother, he must have been 14 at the time, and I was I had him in front of me, like, down here, like, and the policeman, there was like a row of police at the front, and I was like, mate, I didn't want to speak too loud. Like, to the policeman, I was like, we're Tottenham fans, can you get us out of here? And he's like, what, mate? I was like, I kind of had to like show him my badge, and he's like, oh, right. And he sort of let us out, and then all the West Ham fans would go, where's he going? Why are you letting him out? John, oi, John, come back here. And I was like, how do they know my name? And oi, John. Apparently, it's like Cockney slang for like
anybody,
mate, isn't it? Like kind of,
mate, yeah.
I don't go by that anymore. I go by Einstein.
And they were just scum that day, because we were walking
that day.
Always, yeah. They're just terrible. Res, like they've been walking up before, and they get surrounded in a pen by the police, don't they? And they're hurling out this anti-Semitic stuff all the time, doing the hissing noises and stuff. And the police have just stood there, and we're like, all the Tottenham fans are going up to them and going, "Are you going to let them do that?" Because they've got the police had the cameras, they're filming them, so they're obviously season ticket holders at West Ham. They know who they are. They never fucking do anything about it. They just let them come out of this anti-Semitic chanting, hissing and stuff. Just scumbags, West Ham fans, and they all look the same, don't they? Fat cunts with bald heads.
Yeah. I remember going there a few seasons ago, because I had as I said, that was the season that I could get away tickets for everywhere.
Yeah.
And when I went to West Ham with Carl Hoddle and Colin from the British Empire, there was a girl I used to work with who worked in a pub called I think it was the Union or something like that. And she said it's the only pub in close to the ground that lets in away fans. And so we go bowling in there, and we were the only 3 Tottenham fans in there. And so I walk up, and I was like, "You're right, Shaz, how's it going? Long time no see. 3 pints of lager, please. So you're going to give us 3 points today then?" And it was like they flicked the needle off the record, and everyone went. And I was like, £5, okay. Yeah. And so we went and stood in the back garden to a chorus of "We hate Tottenham, and we hate Tottenham." And I was like, "Yeah, this is a nice place, isn't it, fellas?" It was like, "Yeah, should we drink up and leave?" Yeah.
It was sort of like,
yeah. And we lost 1-0.
We went into a pub once, and we bought Scouse. Do you know Graham McGill?
Yeah.
Scouse. He came with us to watch Tottenham and Liverpool. He's a big Liverpool fan. His nickname is obviously Scouse. So we go, right, we're going in this pub. It's quite tasty in here. So we're going in, whatever you do, don't talk, Scouse. Let us order the drinks, just drink your drink. I can't remember who it was. We went to the bar. Right, I'll have a Foster's. And he shouts back over, "Oi, Scouse, what are you having?" Scouse was like shit himself, like
brilliant.
Oi, Scouse, what are you like, just going through this whole routine of don't talk, don't open your mouth. Oi, Scouse,
I was going through security at Heathrow about 3 or 4 years ago, and so I'm taking over all my stuff, and I heard this broad Scouse accent say, "We don't allow Hoistguards out of England." And there he was. he was working at Heathrow as security.
Love it.
awesome.
Awesome.